exciting adventure together.
Why in Thornbury a play about the Wigan girls? Well, it very much belongs to Thornbury or the Thornbury area because it started off at Marlwood School as an A-level play. One day we were looking at a book by Laura Ashley on fabrics throughout history, and there was a picture of a dolly peg Wigan girl, a pit brow lass.
Peg Doll project is an important part of the preparation for Wigan girls. They provided toys for the children at that time. They hadn't got much else. So we managed to get the old-fashioned pegs. We've painted them to represent trousers because it was just too fiddly to provide trousers in fabric. We then applied a face to make them come alive. The arms are pipe cleaners. Dip them in tea to make them a bit more flesh-like. We then needed to provide a dress, which has been cut to a template with a waistcoat in place, machined and turned inside out, ready to go onto the body of the doll. That's the fiddly bit. Once finished at that stage, we add an apron, a collier's apron, and then finally a headscarf and a little bit of hair glued in place to make the doll more realistic.
One of the girls in the group at that time was an extremely talented young lady called Janet Halfyard. And she had a huge hand in creating that original one-act play about the Wigan Pitbrow girls.
The way Barbie remembers it, of course, there are two versions of Wigan Girls, but from my point of view, there are actually three. The first one was the A-level production, and that was about 15 minutes long. All the dialogue from that was from the documentary evidence. It was from Mumby's diary, it was from parliamentary reports, there was a section from the 1842 Act of Parliament on coal mines. And that therefore also had three songs in it. The fake song, God Bless You Mr Shaftesbury, the pub song, the lovely pub song, Who Wears the Trousers, and the final song, The Wigan Girls. And the structure of that first show, the A-level show, is exactly the same in essence as of the big show that we ended up with. So the first show was 1986. The second show was in my second year at university, so it was not that long later, it was 1987-88. I put in 6 or 7 folk songs, mainly taken from a collection by Ewan MacColl of 19th century coal mining ballads. And when Barbie heard that I'd made this second version of the show whilst I was at university, she said, could you write me a big version? Could we have something with a cast of 200, most of them girls? So then academic year 88-89, when I was in my last year at university, that's when I went back to both the A-level version and the university version, put them together, and so I wrote England as a big opening chorus number. I wrote some duets. I wrote the Pit Brats song and the pit fight song where the men and the women get into an argy-bargy. And also I did the whole kind of human interest side of developing the relationship between John and Ellen as giving an insight into the lives of the people. Mumby, Ellen, William Pickard, these are all real people. They're taken from the documentary evidence. The words they speak are basically the words they spoke as recorded either by parliamentary records or by journalists or indeed by Mumby himself.
And old Percy Grimes, he was a blessing in disguise. I tell you, he was like a second father to my lot.
Your eldest daughter, Kathleen, have I met her?
No. She died of smallpox.
Arthur Mumby is a link in the Wigan Girls between the scene in Wigan with the Wigan Pit Girls and the London society scene with Parliament. He was a man who championed the cause of pit girls in Wigan and was instrumental in getting them recognition to be able to work on the pit surface and earn money to support their own families.
So you've got that political side, which is the state of employment and what happened in the Parliament. But you've also got the human interest side, which initially came from Mumby, and his knowledge of Ellen Grounds, he knew her over a period of at least a decade. She really did lose her fiancé before she could marry him. John Seddon is actually a traditional character from the folk ballads. So you get the human interest side, you get the political side, and you also get the kind of class divide side, the difference between north and south and rich and poor, and the kind of double standards and hypocrisy of the affluent society effectively wanting to impose a rather hypocritical sense of decency on working women.
Constantly we ricochet between Wigan and London throughout the play. It's ideal because you can have a cast, and we literally do, from a baby right through to people in their 80s. Masses of parts for children, masses of parts for people who've never done anything before in their lives, both on stage and of course backstage. The sports centre venue seemed really good. It's a fabulous space, but it's huge. I'm standing on the area which would be the raised staging. Behind me would be a huge, great screen on the wall that looks like a Victorian picture frame. And behind me down below is where the orchestra are going to be.
And just give people a quick heads up on roughly what we're planning.
Yeah, you'll have a list of people.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a play on that, in a space of that scale, everything has to be on that scale. So your set has to be on that scale.
But the problem there is you end up, the bottom of the screen is 8 foot off the floor.
8 foot, and you've only got 21.
Well, 21 height, yeah.
We're trying very hard to get going anyway. I'm going to do some cutting.
Well, that's all I had. That's
What we've got at the back support.
yeah.
So just mark that off. So that's 7.5 foot, and that's not including the wall.
No,
which I've
it
forgotten
isn't.
about.
No.
There's a fairground scene, for instance, at the beginning that establishes Victorian society and Victorian sort of philosophy of life, Queen and empire and all this sort of thing. And it's a wonderful vehicle, the fairground scene, for getting people who can just do a little bit. So very small children, people who've never done an awful lot before and just want to do a little just to be involved.
Meet in secret on a bench in Almondsbury Park. You want to splatter out? You give it a splatter out. Yeah, splatter out.
But if you go to the next sort of age group, which is really from year 4 to about year 8, then yes, they've got a scene all of their own, but it's a lovely rumbustious scene. And we start off with a playground, so they're all high as kites anyway. First of all, we actually see the whole cast sing a song, led by Britannia herself, of course, to explain how they think of England and empire and the decent English gentleman.
Has anybody seen a land other than England, with green and pleasant pastures, ruler of the sea? Does anybody know of a land other than England, defender of the faith and mother of the sea? Anybody seen
Then we go and see the actual Wigan girls, who are just about to lose their jobs in the mine.
They don't want us going. They know. We can work harder than the men, and we won't turn up on night shift drunk as they're out to do. Are you going now? Aye, we're not. I've a mind to show that Mr. Lord I am mighty Shaftesbury that he can't stop me working with a few fine words. So, are you coming? Mr. Shaftesbury, let nothing you dismay. You tried to drive us from character of Polly has had a hard life. She's been working down the coal mine since she was 13 years old, and her mother and father also worked down the mines. She's now a widow, and having lost her husband in the Crimean War, she then also lost her eldest daughter, Kathleen, when she was only 9 years old. But in spite of all this hardship, she keeps cheerful and she has a wicked sense of humour. I've really enjoyed playing the part of Polly. It's always much easier to play somebody who's has a bit of grit and is a bit feisty. I have to do quite a lot of shouting in this play, and I think on the first rehearsal for the battle scene between the Wigan girls and the pitmen, I almost frightened poor old John Rowley to death.
Since you're so eager to prove yourself as good as a man, why don't you accept defeat like one?
We're not defeated. We'll be working here for a good while yet.
They won't let you. No, it will not be legal.
It will. Surface work. Surface work. If it's not below ground, it's all above board.
Now, I come from a mining family, so I think I have a good idea of what it'd be like. Be a real male chauvinist. He'd control all the money in the house, and the wife's place was in the kitchen. Now, he'd go to the pub on a Sunday dinner, and he'd say, right, when I come home, I want my dinner on the table, or else. So, I think that's how it will be, and that's how I hope to play him. But just trying to say some good things about the guy. It was a difficult job he was doing. Remember, in those days, there's no health and safety. So we went down the pit. There could be methane gas releases that would poison you. There'd be explosions that would kill you. And there could be rock falls that trap you. And remember, when they got all the families down there, it could be full tragedy for the total family. Now, William Pickard might come over as a hard man, but really, miners, I know, they're very soft. And when there's family tragedies, they very quickly cry. Now, when it go to the next generation, I think things changed a little bit, because they used to make sure that youngest son never went down the mine. They used to make sure enough money in the family, so the youngest son could stay at school and, if possible, go to technical college. Now, in my family, my father Harry, and on my mother's side, my uncle Jack, they stayed on at school, went to technical college, and got clerical jobs in the local council. And the generation after that, my father do anything to stop me going down the pit. He even wouldn't let me go on the miners' welfare trips to Blackpool and Cleethorpes in case I got in with the miners and realised that the money was good and that tell me the safety was a lot better. So he really barred me from meeting anybody from the pits. This means that this play is about the closest I'll ever get to a mine. So I'd just like to say, thanks Barbie for giving me this part so I can live a little bit my family's history.
That's far too short, my love. Okay, right. Here this afternoon we've been trying to give out adult costumes. Most of them seem to have fitted quite well. Let me show you what we've got and where.
But that's great, that's great.
This is Lady Bountiful, who is a special person.
They're very special.
Exactly. We're just trying on this ball gown to fit, and it's just right, although it does need a bit of lap.
I have many layers.
You have many layers?
Many hoops, many nets.
These are men's cutaway tail coats, and over there we've got morning coats. One of our problems is the fact that we don't have that many men in the cast, so they're having to play lots of different parts. So far I haven't had to make too much, it's just trying to match sizes with what we've got.
The great and good of the Victorian era didn't have this material nor glue guns, but what we're able to do is quite simply, it's all precision engineering stuff here.
It's not quite the same angle there, but that doesn't matter, does it? Well, that'll fit over that.
Well, there's a splodge in my hand.
We all have the same problem. We dream about the work that we're doing overnight.
I was dreaming about this till 2 o'clock this morning, changing the design in my head, and here it is. 5, 6.
Just a few points I'd like to make, and then obviously there are all sorts of things that we need to discuss, particularly about transports and moving in and the like. We've got a Dunkirk fleet of transport of horse boxes, flatbed trailers to bring seats, to bring stage blocks, to bring the kit form set that goes in on the Thursday before we open on the Tuesday night. So all the lights have got to be rigged. All the set has got to be put from kit form into full form, so it's got to be measured absolutely precisely. All that's got to be done in that tight time scale of Thursday to Tuesday, and the cast will only have time on the Sunday and the Monday to actually rehearse with that.
Unbelievable. Oh, very strong, you know. Touch, and yet you say take it.
It was for the children.
Can you get that off? Yeah, mate.
Got the trailer there now, have you? Right.
What are these then?
The form of frame, like a picture frame.
Oh, right.
Together.
Oh, she did.
They're not huge, but it's a...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All this lot.
Yeah, I might need to tart it up a little bit, but...
It's the rolls of black fabric.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. It'll be alright, don't worry. 2 Fs, 2 PCs, 6 Fs, working from the middle outward.
There we are. There you are.
Isn't it no other way?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, we're not quite sure.
We'll answer that tomorrow. Yeah, if they let me know where they're coming in from, they can tell me so they know as well. And I can put them there for Monday night so it run a bit smoother. Rather than coming to me first, they can just go and get them.
Good girl. And I'll work as long as Lord gives me strength. Aye, and ladder work and all! Yes!
we say we're winging it, the only stuff with that. So it's maybe is there a lot else you can do with it?
It's been a pleasure to work again with Barbie Davis. She's an inspirational director, and it's going to be a great show.